Welcome back to Switched to Linux. So today we're just going to have a quick look at Ubuntu Mate, and we're going to have a look at the minimal install this time. I've already had a look at a few of the different Ubuntu flavors, including the regular Ubuntu as well, and I wanted to have a look at what the minimal installation looks like. So I installed Ubuntu Mate on my VirtualBox. VirtualBox is running at 6 gigs of RAM and 4 processing cores. And so we're going to go ahead and have a look at what all is inside of here. So go ahead and stay tuned. All right, so we are installed. I installed it. I ran the updates, and from here we are on the login screen. Now, one of the things is that I did not have the option in the install or here on the login screen about any type of data collection. So I have no idea if Ubuntu is actually doing that level of data collection as the regular Ubuntu is or not. So we have introduction, features, get started, community chat rooms, software, get involved, shop, donate, browser selection. Let's go ahead and click on browser selection. I don't remember if that's always been a thing. This is kind of cool. I like this. So right from this screen, you can go Firefox, Chromium, Vivaldi, Google Chrome, Opera, or Brave. So pick your browser. That's actually really cool to have this as those options. So you can go ahead and install the ones that you might like to use. I would generally use Firefox and Chrome. Firefox, by the way, is doing some goofy stuff. We'll probably talk about that on the news tomorrow. But so here we are installing Chromium. So we'll have Firefox and we'll have Chromium. I'm going to guess when this is done, I can probably set from this screen which one the default is. If not, we'll go ahead and figure out where that happens to be. All right, so there we go. So now I can set this as default if I want. So that's kind of cool. So you can go back to there. Let's go ahead and have a look at the shop. What kind of Ubuntu swag? Look at that. Sweet. Ubuntu t-shirts, coffee cups. So if you want to help support Ubuntu, go ahead and check out that store option there. Pick up a coffee cup or something. That'd be pretty sweet. All right, so here is an introduction. So this is just giving us basic intro. Operating system similar to Microsoft, Apple, and Chrome OS. So here's their objectives: accessible to all, increase both Ubuntu and Mate user desktop adoption, which is all good. Ubuntu alternative for computers that aren't powerful enough to run a composite desktop, which is definitely why you might want to run it. Let's go ahead and have a look at the system monitor here real quick. So we are running at 800 megabytes of memory. So that's about half of the RAM that your regular Ubuntu is going to be running with GNOME. So that's kind of what you have there. All right. Community chat room. Here's the software center. I've never really cared for the bouquet, or is it boutique? Excuse me, bouquet. That's software bouquet. There we go. That's it. Software boutique. I've never really cared for it, but let's go ahead and see if they have improved it. First of all, I see that we have a search function now. That was the one thing I really like. What? But let's see how good it works. So if I want to do some Kdenlive video editing, I first should probably start by spelling Kdenlive right. We were talking about not spelling earlier. All right. So there we are. We got Kdenlive. That actually, based on the logo there, that does look like it is currently the most current version of Kdenlive. Let's go ahead and type in just web browser. This is something the GNOME Software Center doesn't work well with, is just typing in like a descriptive keyword, like what am I trying to do? Okay, so I'm kind of seeing that's kind of what my challenge happens to be right here, right? So I am getting a complete password management system. I'm getting Stellarium, an awesome application, but not a web browser. Solitaire card games, that's awesome. Warzone. Yay! Adobe Flash Player. Why, God? Why? And then now we have a variety of browsers. Brave, Chromium, Firefox, Google Chrome. And there's the Tor browser. I'm guessing that's the Tor browser bundle. Let's go ahead and install that. I'm curious to see how that works. Opera, Vivaldi. So one of the things that you see is like it is working better than the GNOME tool, but I'm not sure why we're getting these two items at the top when we type in web browser. But anyway, that's okay. So far, I can say the changes to the Software Boutique are certainly a whole lot better than, I mean, this is a whole lot better of an application as it used to be. So I can probably withdraw my disdain for this software application. Let's go ahead before we dive too far into this. Let's see what all is on the minimal install. Remember, the only things I've installed are the Tor browser and Chromium. So everything else. Oh, before we dive into that, notice that the menus here are different, at least from 16.04, which is the last Ubuntu Mate I've generally used. And I'm not sure if this was also the case with 17. But there used to be the main menu here, which I recall not necessarily being this menu. But you also had your control center menu. You had 3 menus across the top before. Now we only have the one menu, and inside of that menu we have the integration. The control center, universal access, and system tools, those were extra menus before. So that's all nice and condensed. So I really like that. Let's go ahead and start up a Firefox instance. Here's one of the things I like about Mate is we do have the nice status bar at the top where we have the launch icons, but then we also have the more traditional status bars and things at the bottom, just so I can kind of see what windows and things are open. Enter your email. No, Firefox. Firefox is getting goofy. I'm going to talk more about that on the news, I think. But anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at what is installed on the minimal install here. So accessories, we have our basic system tools: Pluma, Plank, Screenshot Tools, Mate Search Tool, Font Viewer, Calculator, Archive Manager, Character Map. We have our basic administrative tools: Software Updates, Software Boutique, Software, Updater, the Welcome Screen, Users, Groups, Login Windows. Graphics, we have just our basic utilities. I have Mate Color Selection. Remember, we installed Chromium. Firefox was pre-installed. Office, we just have the basic dictionary and the PDF reader. We do have a lot of things under Preferences, because everything here under Preferences should also be able to see under the Control Center. Nothing under Sound and Video. So really, we do get a pretty good system. So here's Kaja. Let's go ahead and have a look at this. And so you can open this as an administrator by right-clicking. Go ahead and do that. Caution, caution, caution. We have to enter our password, my super secret password, which is Ubuntu Mate. Just don't tell anyone. Now up here, you'll see that this guy here is the one that is under our regular user. This guy here is as a super user, and you'll see that this one says as super user. I do like in Mint, it gives you the big red bar to indicate your super user. It's like that big red bar saying, danger, Will Robinson, danger. So that's kind of what we have there. Let's see. Here's our about the computer. We can suspend, shut down, log out. So Ubuntu Mate there, which is our user lock system settings over here. So here we have settings. And you know, I've always kind of liked the way that Ubuntu Mate is themed. I kind of like the theming and things, but if you do want to change around some of those themes, let's see if I can remember where to change those at. So under your appearance here, we should see some options. I do kind of like, I think I'm running this one on my current Mate build, which is a Linux Mint Mate, I think. That's right. That sounds about right. So I'm actually running this theme over there. This one's a nice theme. It's a little too bright for me at times. But you can see it has some of those skeuomorphic things that I like. This one's nice and dark. Or we get another dark. We all live in a blue submarine. A blue submarine. Alright, I'm going to get sued by the Beatles, aren't I? So there's how easy it is to adjust these. Of course, these will kind of give us our basic changes. And then you can further go on here. Here's your backgrounds. That should give us some images. So, whoa, I don't want to, no, move printers back. No, stop it. Created a shortcut on the desktop accidentally. All right, so what I wanted to do here is kind of minimize that. If this is just incredibly too green for you, there's more items. So this one here is the same wallpaper without the Ubuntu. Here's with the Ubuntu Mate. Notice I'm getting a little bit of screen jumpy. That's probably due to the VirtualBox. Ooh, I do like that we can snap in quarters. This one's not allowing me to, but let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about there. We can snap into quarters like that. So you can probably snap quarters, you can snap halves. I like that functionality. Budgie does not allow me to snap in quarters. I'm a little bitter about that because I use quarters quite a bit. There you go. If you're trying to duplicate a Mac, that looks kind of like a Mac background. Here's the nice gray with the Ubuntu Mate logo, so that's nice. Just a variety of other cool things. I like the options. I like the selections I have here. That's the perfect balance right there. Look at that thing. Oh, wait, how about this? No, like, it's hard call. Hard call. All right, we're going with this one. I like this one. Of course, you can change your fonts around. I'm having a hard time grabbing the bar to drag it, if you've seen that. Here's our fonts. We can make some fonts a little bit bigger if we need to. Here's our interfaces. All right, so if I hit close, we can go back up to our control center over here. Here's our main menu. So this is where we can make adjustments to our main menu. So here, if we select our graphics, we can choose what is visible, what is not. You'll see that the Image Magic is installed, but it's not in the menu because it's really a terminal-based application. But you can see what you have, and you can move things around. All right, here's our Mate tweak. So we have some tweak tools so we can show the variety of different icons. So I do really like the icons that Ubuntu Mate uses. I like that they haven't adopted this boring flat look. I really like the icons, just excellent. Let's go ahead and do that. As far as our panel, let's see. Okay, so we're on familiar now. We have this. All right, so here we have this panel. Let's go with Cupertino. Ooh, there we are. Woo! Got a little dock up there. Haha, Cupertino, just like Mac. All right, there we are. That one restores back to what we had before. Uh-oh, mutiny. There you are. If you want a more traditional Ubuntu-like feel. Of course, now I just lost my entire thing. There we are. Good. Okay, good. I hate it. You guys might like it. I hate it. All right. See, I don't like this one because I really like having my list of things at the bottom. But if you are hurting for space... Uh-oh, Pantheon. Okay, we got some Pantheon going. Not a huge fan of that one either. Redmond. Oh, I'm afraid to ask. Okay, just like Windows. There you go. That's kind of anticipated if you are looking for just like Windows and traditional. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before. So this is where you have your basic menu here. I'm not a huge fan of this menu because I like searching my menus. But we also have our places here. We have our system over here. Usually what I actually do is I run this setup, but then I come down to the bottom panel and I'm going to add my better menu to it. So that's usually what I do. So can I find the menu? So there's the menu bar. I think I used this one. Let me just have a look. Yeah, this is the one I prefer to use. So I use this on my bottom and I keep the one at the top, but then my most used applications, I just have a big bar going across. And then there's actually something else I do to mine as well. Let me go back to what we started with. So we're going to go ahead and stick with this guy here. The other thing that I do on mine is I actually allow it to slide in and out. Let me see if I can remember how to do that. I might actually have to come up to the panel properties. Okay, so show the hide buttons. That's kind of what I like to do. The reason that I run this type of panel is I find with this type of panel, if we are maximizing something, occasionally what I find on, at least on Mint, is it never reserves that space for the panel at the top. This one seems to be doing that a whole lot better than Mint does. But I could never get it to reserve space, and so it's always showing at the top. And so I kind of put these arrows up so I can just kind of close the panel out, and then when I need it, I can open it right back up again. So that's kind of one of those things that I like to do with my panel. So let's go ahead and take that off. I can do a solid color, or I can use the system theme. The solid color, I can do that with some opacity to it. So that's actually pretty cool. So we can match the coloration and add some opacity to it. I could actually add a background. So if I wanted some really nice skeuomorphic type look, I could create that background pretty easy and put that in. And Windows. No, thank you. I'm done with Windows. I'm on Linux now. All right. So you can enable animations. Also, we have a variety of different window managers pre-installed. So it looks like there's 4 by default. Marco, no compositor, adaptive. This is one of those things where if you have an application like Total OS today has a little ticker, news ticker he had to move down to Compiz to make that work. Compiz is a kind of like a little fascinating thing. It allows you to do a whole lot more crazy effects and things. Let me see if I can remember where those are at. I think they're probably... I always have to look it up where they are, but you can actually look them up. And you can do a lot of just different interesting window manager things with, making the windows wobble and all sorts of other stuff. So we're going to go ahead and go back to what we had initially had at the beginning there. So that is your panels, your setups. We have our desktop switcher down here. If you use different desktops, you have the options to do that. Let's see what else is in here. So if you are installing an Ubuntu, you might want to come in here and hit the additional drivers, see if there's some extra drivers that need to be installed in your system. We'll probably find some VirtualBox drivers is my guess in here, but let's see. All right, so here we have, this is the VirtualBox guest editions. So we're not using the proprietary guest editions, but I could do that. So we'll go ahead and close that out. Oh yes, if you do like screensavers, this is one of the cool things about Cinnamon and Mate that I haven't seen on many other Linux distros, or desktop environments, I should say, is screensavers. So you can actually do a variety of different screensavers. Let's see what we get here. Well, this is a fascinating preview, isn't it? Let's go through the cosmos. Looks like it's just grabbing the pictures and things. All right. But anyway, you can activate screensavers. That's an option. File management. How do you want to sort your files? Here's your behaviors. All right. And I guess finally startup applications. Let's go ahead and have a look at these. All right. So these are all of the things that start up automatically. Like if you don't need a screen reader, it's probably safe to turn that one off. If you're never printing, you can probably turn the printer off. Anything to save just a little bit, you could probably do. Let's turn off the auto start. All right, so those are configuration there. All right, so there is a little bit about Ubuntu Mate. So overall, it feels a little bit better than it has in the past. I'm liking the default setup. Default setup is a little bit different than it was in the past, and I like it. It's very nice. Software Boutique has come a long way. I will probably no longer despise the application, so that's kind of good. And then just everything else is pretty nice. Of course, this is the minimal install. You have the option of your minimal install or your full install. So the minimal, the difference really is, does it contain things like GIMP and LibreOffice and stuff like that. We have a lot of wallpapers to choose from. We can customize our panels, add transparency to one, make the other one. So I really like this setup. This is a beautiful setup. Should I run this for a while? Should I run this on my other computer over here? What do you think? Should I run Ubuntu Mate for a little bit as a media PC? Now, I'll tell you that I used to run Ubuntu Mate as my backup computer. And when I say backup computer, it's not like my backup computer. It's the computer that stores all of my master backup files. I have an operating system specifically for that. The reason I went away from it is I found that things like Handbrake wouldn't extract files off of DVDs quite as well as it should have. And I actually thought for the longest time I just had a really cheap, crappy CD-ROM in my computer. It turned out it was the distro, because I had it over there and it's like it wasn't working, so I tried it over on the other computer and that wasn't working. I'm just like, I don't know, maybe the DVDs are messed up. And I just happened to be boot into Linux Mint Cinnamon. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try again on Linux Mint Cinnamon. So I push the button, get in there, put the CD in, perfect. So I'm like, yeah, it's an Ubuntu Mate problem. So I'll be curious to know if that has been resolved or not. So that'd be a neat little question to look into. So that is kind of my take on these. So what do you think about Ubuntu Mate? I hope you've enjoyed this video from Switched to Linux. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out the links at the top. There is another video over here. You can check out our Patreon page down here. And you can check out shop.switchtolinux.com for information on a t-shirt like this or some other designs. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.